Well, mostly I'm trying to get over the shock of it. I was so shocked when I heard that it's taken me quite a long time to recover. And now I'm sort of starting to get used to the idea. And of course, I'm incredibly happy, but you can still be happy and be in a state of I don't know what. I mean, I did think for a while that they were going to call me up and say we've actually phoned the wrong person and we've made a bit of a mistake. So, sorry. But nobody's called me, so I must be okay.
So you've written 11 books and you treat your protagonist with respect, but also with a critical eye and much humor. So I wonder, what kind of relationship do you have with your characters?
Well, I think you've just defined, in a way, my relationship with myself. So I am fond of my characters, but I'm also quite critical of them, and I worry about them because they're often completely lost in the world, or they want something that they haven't got. So some of them are seeking knowledge, and some of them are seeking a better life, and they're all looking for something that isn't quite within their grasp. And of course, that's all of us, in a way, not just me.
You have said that my subject has always been on how to become a person, and that starts early in life and doesn't stop when you're 19, it just goes on and on. And I wonder, why is that subject so important to you?
Well, I think it's the subject of life. I mean, I can't think of really any other subject. It's how to become a person, how to live a life. Do you do it for money? Do you do it only for yourself? Do you live completely for other people? Do you live for knowledge, or to have children? I mean, all those big questions are the ones that I think every one of us is asking all the time. And we sort of start asking that question or those questions when we're young. Maybe some people when they're 8, some people when they're 11, some people maybe not till they're 40. So I can't really think of anything better to write about.
In your books there are lots of animals, dogs and horses and mooses, and what's with all the animals in your books?
Don't forget the eck. There's an eck. There's an extinct eck in There Is No Dog. That's such a big question, I almost don't know how to answer it. I think animals reflect back on humans, something about our humanity. So how we treat animals, how we look at animals, what the animals we love say to us, whether they're actually speaking or whether they're, just being animals. I think they sort of throw the whole idea of humanity into sharper focus. And often we project what we think of each other, what we think of ourselves onto the animals. Sometimes they represent things in our psyche. They just, I don't know, I don't put them in on purpose. They just seem to crawl into my books, and once they're there, they just seem to have a really important role for the people.
Your books are very different from one another. How do you find inspiration?
Well, how do you find inspiration? That is a very good question. Mostly by living, I think. And I always think the greatest thing about being a writer is you don't have to be a genius when you're 11 or when you're when you're 15. It's not like being a ballet dancer. You can get better and better the older you get and the more things you do. And one of the greatest things is that when you're a writer and something terrible happens to you, you have a car crash or you have a huge fight, with your friend, or, when things go really wrong, there's an American writer called Nora Ephron who said everything is material. And so everything that happens to you goes into your books in some way, or at least goes into your head and becomes part of the material that you use to write. So the ideas all come from in here.
But can you tell us anything about your working process?
My working process is it's not very interesting. You know, I have a lot of work that isn't writing books, which is maybe writing articles or speaking in public or going into schools and things like that. There's often a year or two between each major novel, and during that time you could stand around and watch me think, because I think, you know, probably most of the hours of the day and probably some of the night. And when I've been thinking long enough, you know, the answers start to come out, whether they come out in dreams or they come out in a sudden thought I have. And then at that point I'll know that I have a book, that there's a book beginning. And it's like, you know, the moment you realize you're pregnant, and then you're just trying to eat the right things, not drink too much alcohol, so that the baby, you know, comes out looking nice.
You said recently in a Guardian interview that I've spent my life being not very good at things, but doing them with a mad passion. So what are your passions in life?
Well, I was a mad, passionate horse rider, and I was so passionate and so foolish in a way that I rode any horse that anybody put in front of me, which was a very big mistake. And I had so many falls. And my last one, I ended up unconscious in a field for about half an hour, and I thought, I have to give up, because the next time I'm going to break my neck. So that's certainly one of my mad passions. But I mean, I'm passionate about reading, about other people, about animals, about dogs, about walking. I mean, nothing really all that interesting, but I'd say everything I do, you know, I've done lots of things in my life. I've been a crew on a sailboat, and you know, I've done mountain climbing. But everything I do rather badly. But I love it, so I'll do it, you know, with my whole heart.